Wednesday 3.
Yeah, we had Wednesday 1.
No question in my mind.
He came from one of the toughest areas of Phoenix. All of his friends.
You got people on the TV talking about it. You better get your ass to the ball. You better get to the ball.
I just got to say, when it comes to Dallas Cowboys, well,
Been different.
For sure, and they would have thrown it off because
And this guy gets off you.
Mullet from it. And then I go to bed every night like. Gee, man, I promise you that. We got a special. What is up, Cowboys Nation? Boy, Mike Tag here. Late night, as you can see, I'm out of town traveling. So what the hell do? You know, you get on here, you talk a little Cowboys. So hopefully you guys are doing great. Hopefully the ones who are tuning in, I see a lot of people on Instagram or X tuning in. Appreciate it. Before I get rolling, make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe, share, all that kind of good stuff on YouTube. What's up, Vince? What's up, Jesus? Appreciate you guys. I got some late night people. This is what you do, man. What am I supposed to do all day? Can't sit in this room watching TV. I got to interact. I had to fly up to ATL, do a little business, handle that business. But, Scott, what's up, man? And training camp is here. Training camp is here. The week is finally getting there. So now let's see if this team gets something done. Some stupid, desperate team will continue to overpay Dak. I know Jesus is you're not looking for him to pay Dak the money, but the weird thing is, man, there's a lot of quarterbacks making a lot of money out there. So what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to start all over and hope you get it, or you know what you got with Zach or with Dak. You hope that ceiling is not, he hasn't reached that ceiling yet. He's got an area to bust through, and you make that investment and you take your shot. And I mean, that's the question. That's the $1 million question. What's up, Daryl? What's up, Ariel? Appreciate Steve, all you guys coming in. This is going to be laid back. This is laid back. What's up? What's up, my man Bugsy? This is laid back. We're going to be chilling, but just talking about the contract. So I made a comment. My flight was delayed. What's going on with these airlines and all the computer stuff, still causing havoc in the airports, but I made it where I got to go. So it got me thinking. It's like, hey, you want to make me feel a little better? Let's get a deal done. Whether it be a deal done with CeeDee, you get one with Dak, maybe you knock them both out. We're all feeling pretty good. Or are you not feeling good? Do you guys not want to see Dak Prescott come back? Do you not want to see CeeDee Lamb come back? I mean, what are we thinking? Because you always have that percentage, which I just don't understand it. You want your players gone, and then when they're gone, you're going to be bitching and moaning that they left. We've seen it before. I mean, everyone drove, a lot of people drove DeMarcus Ware out, said he was washed up, didn't have nothing left. And then he goes out and wins the Super Bowl with Denver, and he was an important part of the Super Bowl. It wasn't like he was just some scrub guy. He was an integral part of that defense to get him over the top. So I don't know what you want. I don't know what you guys want to do. That's why I'm a fan. I'm a fan like you. So I want to hear your points, but I'll give mine as well on Dak Prescott. I mean, Dak is a franchise quarterback. I mean, we're going to talk about the top 100. We're going to talk about where he ranks within his peers, but he is a top 6 quarterback, top 5 quarterback, wherever you want to throw him in. Do you just get rid of him and start all over? And I hear people saying you can't pay him the money. Well, all these teams are paying quarterbacks. I mean, how many quarterbacks are making over $40 million a year? I mean, that's the price that it takes to get a quarterback, a franchise quarterback. I didn't set the rules. These owners did. The owners are bitching and moaning that the quarterbacks are making a lot of money, but they're the ones that keep paying them and keep escalating that salary. So you're going to have to do something to get it done. Dak's not a franchise quarterback. Troy Aikman is. No one's comparing Dak Prescott to Troy Aikman. Now, I would say this, and think about it, my man Jesus. Let's just say by miracle and hope from the man upstairs that he finally gets rid of this curse, and Dak wins the Super Bowl. Let's say he wins 2. Now, what do you say? Do you put him as the best Cowboys quarterback all time? He'd have a pretty damn good case, and I'm a Troy Aikman guy. So I was too young for Roger Staubach, but I think Roger Staubach is one of the probably, will go down as one of the greatest Cowboys of all time. He's on the Mount Rushmore and all that. But you got to ask yourself that question. If he doesn't, then he's Tony Romo, he's Danny White. We all know the story. He's all that rolled into one. But you can say he's not winning, but you don't know. I mean, Peyton Manning, no one said he was winning the Super Bowl. It was 8 years. Drew Brees, 8 years, not success in the playoffs. You win a Super Bowl or 2, all of a sudden you're considered one of the greatest. Aaron Rodgers has 1 Super Bowl ring, but some people argue he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. So, the story is not complete. The chapters aren't done. The question is, do you want to see the end of the story with Dak Prescott, or are you pretty much ready to move on? And if you're ready to move on, I'm not going to sit here and fight people on it. It is what it is. Like I said, at the end of the day with Dak Prescott or anyone, the star in the helmet's all I care about. If it's Trey Lance, I'm rolling with Trey. I'm gonna break out that what is he now? What number is he? 15, or he changed his number to something? But whatever number he's rolling, that's what I'll be rocking, and that's the way I'm loyal to the franchise. That's just the way it is at the end of the day. And you can move on, and you just got to know what you have. Let Justin Fields. Where did Justin Fields come from? Is he on the Cowboys? Did I miss something? Did I miss Justin Fields coming to the Cowboys? Trey's 19. I was thinking he was 19, but I wasn't sure. That'll work out good because I have a 19 jersey. I either got a Miles Austin or a Coop jersey. I just got to slap them numbers off or the name off, and then I'll be good to go. Shedeur Sanders, the guy who's won 5 games in last season. He's the guy. He's the guy that you're going to put all your chips in, my man. That's got to be my man. Ultra. That's got to be Ultra. Only Ultra would say something like that. It's got to be Ultra. I mean, you're gonna now. If you would have said ride with Trey Lance, see what he's got, I can get that. If you said, hey, go see what other quarterback that you can try and snag that's got a few years in that's just needing an opportunity, I can deal with that. But you're gonna throw a guy in there who's living off right now, like it or not, and he could be a great quarterback. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But I mean, if his last name wasn't Sanders, is he at Colorado? And Colorado's not even that great of a college. Let's just call a spade a spade. It's not like he's at Alabama, he's at Ohio State, he's at Georgia, he's at the U. He's at one of those big schools. I mean, Colorado won 1 game 2 years ago. They won 5 games this year, and all of a sudden you're anointing him the great one. So we won't get into that foolishness. I'm young to remember what life was like after Troy Aikman, and that's Daryl. You bring the point up where people have PTSD because I was there too, right? We dealt with those Aikman, and I don't want to live in fear. I don't want to live in fear if in the heart of hearts, the organization, and I got to believe McCarthy, you got to believe the guys that are behind closed doors that see them every day is not the guy for to lead this team to a championship. I'm not going to be, I'm not going to live scared. Cut it and go. What tells me that they're not going to cut it and go and they are going to sign Dak is because they didn't do anything to try and move him. Understand he has a no trade clause, but they could have went to him and said, look, dude, we're moving on. We're going to get you an opportunity with a team you want. You go explore trade options. I think they sign him. I think it's either they're going to roll the dice, put a little pressure on him, like my man Gogan said. Maybe he needs that pressure and that last year of the contract. But I think they sign him. I like my man Cut. My man Cut's back from Chicago, having a great time. Hopefully he stayed out of trouble. I saw a picture of you with a cop. Hopefully it wasn't the same cop that busted you for playing the Cowboys cave a little too loud. Hopefully you weren't playing the cave too loud in Chicago. I don't want you getting in trouble. That's a place you don't want to end up in the jail there. That's Texas probably isn't that great either. So you definitely want to be careful, my man Cuts, but glad you are back safe. So CeeDee Lamb, that's a deal, I think, right? Are you guys agreeing with me, man? CeeDee Lamb, that's a no-brainer. Shouldn't even be an argument. get the deal done. What are we waiting for? Why are we Stephen Jones is on this, he's on his whatever podcast he's a guest on. He can go on a podcast. Micah Parsons can't have a podcast. We'll that's a conversation for another day. But you got to get CeeDee Lamb. We got to get that thing signed. I think both of them get signed, to be honest with you. I think they're both going to get signed. I don't think Parsons going to get his deal is going to get done next off season. And then we're going to see what happens. But let's look at it. Let's really look at the season. You're going into training camp, and NFL, network, and they do their top 100. You're getting this thing rolling, and the guy that the two guys that get the most hate, two of the three guys that seem to get the most hate, one's ranked 4th by their peers, ranked 4th best player in the NFL by his peers. And then you've got Dak Prescott, 32nd best player by his peers. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb, 14th. So you got 3 of the top 32 players at overall. I don't know where they rank within their position. I think Parsons, they ranked him 2nd at defensive end. I'm not sure where Dak ranked. If they put out the whole 100, I think they're down to like 81, but maybe you guys got a sneak peek at it. Let me know. I think CeeDee probably is in that 4 to 5 range, or maybe even a little bit better, maybe 3 to 4 at receiver. So what more do you guys want? Now, we want a championship. That's what I want. But this team is talented. And I keep trying to tell people, it's like, yeah, they lost some guys. Is there anyone that they lost that you guys are losing sleep over? I'm not. I wish they would have signed a few other guys. Would have helped me sleep a little bit better. But there's not anything. There's no one that left that I'm all upset about. But you've got these guys that are ranked that high, and you got a percentage of the fan base that just wants to kick them to the curb. It makes no sense to me. You see the work that Dak's putting in the offseason, continually putting in the offseason. He's gotten better statistically almost every single year, right? He had the hiccup a couple years ago with the interceptions. Last year he was 2nd MVP. So they've got the quarterback. I mean, the quarterback, to me, in my opinion, I don't know if you're going to get a better quarterback unless it's Mahomes or Burrow or someone coming in, but they're not. You're not going to go draft a quarterback. You're not going to go get a free agent quarterback that's going to be better. So I think that's not even, to me, a conversation. Receiver, you got CeeDee Lamb. I like Cooks. The question is going to be what's going to happen at that third receiver. Who's going to step up? You look at Parsons. I mean, he's our best defensive player. Why people would shit on him makes no sense to me. Maybe they can utilize him a little bit differently. Maybe that's what Zimmer's going to do, is utilize his skill set a little bit differently. Maybe get him off the ball a little bit, kind of disguise him blitzing from all areas of the defense. I wouldn't be, I ain't hating on that. I would be cool with that if they did that. But I just don't, this team is talented enough to get in the playoffs. Now, the question's going to be, what do they do in the playoffs? I'm going to be dropping them hype videos. I'm going to be trying to get you guys motivated. But I know in the back of my mind, you guys are going to be like, yeah, but. We'll go, let's say we go out and beat Cleveland. Yeah, but let's wait and see what happens. They said they didn't beat a real team. Let's see what happens. And then let's say we go on a little run. We finish 12-5. You finish, 13 wins, whatever, 13-4. No one's going to feel good until they get to the playoffs and they win. That's Bugsy, my man. I've said this a million times. The Dallas Cowboys in the 90s, about 11 players had TV shows. That was, I'm not sure your age. Maybe we're close. Maybe we're not. If you remember the 90s, hopefully you do, because those are some Super Bowl years. They all had shows. No one said shit about them. No one cared. You've got all these other players that do that. Would you rather him be on a podcast or out partying at 3 a.m, getting a DUI? I mean, having a podcast, I don't really care so much about. It doesn't really bother me. It doesn't affect his game. They didn't win titles. They won titles afterwards, but they still had shows. There was guys that still had shows. There's guys that have shows now. So it doesn't matter. Those are during their Super Bowl titles. They didn't do that after they won. They did that in 92. They did it in 93. They did it in 94 where they didn't win a title. They did it in 95 where they won a title. That has nothing to do with anything. Like my man Cut said, I'll take the podcast over bail money. I mean, these guys, we had Kason on it, who's a trainer, and he actually works with Ryan Flournoy, one of the Cowboys draft picks. And he talks about the work that these guys put in. I mean, these are the best of the best. I'm not just talking about Cowboys. I'm just talking about professional athletes. I mean, you think of the small percentage that make it professional. Then you talk about the ones that are the elite of the elite, that very small percentage. Trust me when I tell you, Micah Parsons busts his ass almost 365 days a year to prepare his body, mind, and everything else. I don't worry about him. I'm not worrying about the elite of the elite. Those guys are self-driven, and there's a reason why he's ranked number 4 overall at all players in the NFL by his peers. So I'm not gonna shit on him. Now, Sam Williams and Kevontae Turpin throwing a victory party before the Packers game and announcing it post-game party, that I'd have a problem with. You see the difference? I don't know if you guys see the difference. Maybe there's no difference. To me, that's a big difference. So it all depends on the optics and how you see things. But him doing a podcast on his off day, which they're allowed to have an off day, I don't know. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. So, yeah, it has, yeah, you know, exactly, man. I got the podcast. I'm doing great. You want me to stop my podcast? Is it interfering with the hype videos, even though they're not there yet? We're getting closer and closer. You guys got to be patient. We're getting this thing rolling. But I would be remiss to say thank you again. We had over 120 new subscribers just within the last week. So I know you guys are itching for football. So I appreciate all you guys that hit that subscribe button. Those who didn't yet, shame on you. I'm going to send Kelly. If you guys hadn't seen Kelly, he gets a little irritated on Twitter. He's very short fuse. I'm going to send him your way and get you guys straightened out, because you do need to hit that. You need to hit that subscribe and get this thing rolling. So, but what else is on our mind? We talked this, we talked that. Let's talk training camp. We're going to have a great show Wednesday night, special show on Wednesday instead of Thursday. And we'll probably start going back to Wednesday once football starts. But, you know, I guess there's a new movie coming out, Deadpool. So Kelly said, hey, man, I got to go see the movie premiere. I can't wait, all that stuff. So I said, well, let's just do it on Wednesday. And it actually works out good because training camp, I think, officially is kicking off Thursday. Our man Jerry is going to be a little delayed. He's got some court stuff he's got to deal with. I don't see anyone bitching and moaning about that. Where's his focus at? Paternity test or signing these players? Why aren't we getting argued? How come no one's bitching and moaning about that? They're bitching and moaning about Parsons, you know, podcast that he does once a week, but no one seems to be upset about Jerry Jones spending time in court when we got training camp going on and we got guys that need to be signed. So, you know, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So, yes, I will give you a holler. We are, for the tailgate, we got a badass George T custom cut that Cuts by Jones did. So our tailgate party is going to be happening, and we're going to have a good time. We are going to have a good time with that. And let's see, Parson, let me go through the chat. Let's just chill for a minute. I want to be yapping. Heavy dose of Zimmer. I think Zimmer is just what the doctor ordered for Micah Parsons. I think great players need to be pushed. I think they need to be challenged. And no disrespect to Quinn. I think Quinn's a great defensive coordinator. I just think that he was a little buddy with some of the teams, and there's certain guys and certain players that probably need to be pushed and challenged. I mean, Bill Parcells, he was the king of that. I mean, he'd never let Romo, you know, get too high, never let some of these guys, you know, get too high. So that's what we're talking about, you know, and I think Zimmer can do that. Great. My basketball game, Miami Heat. I mean, Summer League Championship. Does anyone care? Does anyone care? We're going to go off topic for a minute. We'll get back on track, but I got to ask this question because my son, he sends me a text. Now we're going to get in family time. So I need some family advice. My son sends me a text and says, LeBron's the GOAT. I'm like, what are you talking about? Here we go again. Because we have this Michael Jordan, LeBron argument. So I was like, what are you talking about? The USA played a third world country in basketball, and he's all excited that LeBron hit the game-winning shot against a third world country that they were favored by 46, and that makes him the GOAT. What would make him the GOAT is whooping their ass by 60. You know, when the dream team, the real dream team, the only dream team I know, when they played in the Olympics, they beat the teams by 60. There was no mercy. There was no 101, 100. How embarrassing. Calling them the GOAT. I'm saying it's embarrassing. How the hell do you allow a team to get within 1 point of victory, a game-winning shot opportunity, and you're going to consider yourself the GOAT? To me, I know it's an exhibition. They're just getting going, feeling each other out, whatever, the team and all that. And LeBron's great, don't get me wrong, but do not compare LeBron James to Michael Jordan. And if I'm wrong, you guys come kill me in the chat. But Michael Jordan is on another level. So, I mean, let's be real for a minute. We got to, Mikey, you got to pump them brakes, and go watch The Last Dance. So, but I'm serious, but kidding. But training camp, what are you guys hyped up? What are you guys concerned about training camp? I'm thinking some battles. And to me, what I want to see clutched up again today against, they barely beat the team that they played. I mean, what is my boy doing? Albert, knock some sense into him. Albert, if I see you at AT&T and my son's with me, you have full reign to slap him in the back of the head and say, what the hell are you talking about? You understand that? So you have it. So, and I give up. There you go. Daryl, my MJ's the GOAT. I give you card. Mikey, you're going to get your ass whooped there because we got some people here that are going to take care of Vince, all you guys, Bugsy, Kobe. I mean, I like Kobe, but not better than Michael, but I like Kobe more than LeBron. I do. And I didn't appreciate Kobe's career until he retired. He seemed, in those Shaq years, I was a big Shaq guy too. I mean, Shaq was the man. And I thought Kobe was the problem. And Kobe really wasn't the problem. Shaq was a little lazy, and Kobe had that winning mentality. So that's what I would say. But Bugsy, don't embarrass yourself, Kobe, for MJ. I mean, that's embarrassing. I mean, why it's embarrassing is Kobe imitated, admittedly so, and there's nothing wrong with it, don't get me wrong, but imitated, wanted to be like Mike so bad, talked like him, acted like him, played like him. So, that is is that the biggest form of flattery, imitation, right? Isn't that what they say? So that's why Kobe's not. So just get that out of the way. It's not even that eliminates that. Plus, I mean, Kobe, Shaq was the driver of those Laker championships. And that's just being real. Camp battles. I saw a wide receiver and Rick, and I think I know where you're going, it's really, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rick, I think you obviously CeeDee, make no mistake about it, right? So we're fine there. I think we're good with Cooks, but what's going to happen at the third, fourth receiver spot? Because, I was a Tolbert guy. I seen him play a lot at South Alabama, fan of his. But he hasn't grabbed hold of that spot and taken it over. Who is going to step up and do that? Will he take that spot? Or is it maybe, like I talked about, Ryan Flournoy, he is hungry. Maybe you need a young guy, maybe one of these young guys. I mean, we've shuffled out the same cast of characters, at the third, fourth receiver, forget about Gallup, but I mean, they've been in training camp, they've been on a team, and this, and I don't know if we're seeing the production that we want to see. That's what I need to see from these receivers. I want a receiver to take it. I want it Tolbert. If it's Tolbert, I want him to take it and own it and leave no doubt, like my man said, and remember the Titans. That's what I need to see from the receivers. Albert, again, left tackle, left guard, and center is what it's worth. I think you're going to have some battles there. Now you're hearing, Chuma is probably going to be penciled in, which, okay, that doesn't worry me about Guyton. I mean, Chuma's a veteran. So I think you're going to have, I think eventually Guyton's going to be the guy when the season starts. That's just my opinion. I think he's going to be the guy. I think he is. I think Tyler Smith's gonna obviously handle the guard. I think center is going to be intriguing because everyone's anointed Bass, and I think Bass is going to be great young draft picks. Got a lot of upside. But I think Hoffman's going to have something to say. Hoffman's got a little nastiness to him. I think he might have something to say about that center spot. So I don't think it's a given that you're going to end up with two rookies starting on that line. Obviously, Martin is going to be Martin. And then, Steele. Can Steele get back to 2 years ago? That is really going to be the key because we got to get him back. And again, you don't need a Pro Bowl or All-Pro at every position. Right? I mean, you got Tyler Smith, you got Martin. Those are two All-Pro Pro Bowlers. I mean, if we can mix in one more, great, but they just need to be solid. I mean, look at Kansas. Look at some of these other teams. It's not like they had these all-world offensive lines, and we've had the great walls, except for the 90s. That's the only great wall, the real great wall we know, right? But you have all these other ones that have been very good. I mean, really good offensive. I mean, Tyron Smith's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. Martin's going to be a Hall of Famer. Frederick could have been a Hall of Famer if he didn't have the illness that shortened his career. I mean, we've been stacked, and we don't have the championship rings to show for it. So I just think we need to get solid offensive line play. Nasty. We had Gogan on last week. That's the mentality. Listen to him when he was talking about offensive line when he came in. They were lacking a little bit of nasty. Eric Williams type. That's the mentality. I think Guyton's got that mentality. I think Beebe's got it. I think Hoffman's got it. I think Bass has got it. I know Martin's got it. So I think we've got the makeup for that. So, and I do agree. Guyton is the key piece. And they are because of what we've done in the offseason or lacked in the offseason is you're going to put this pressure on these rookies, on the second-year guys. They've got to compete. They got to compete at a high level, and they got to get it done. Otherwise, my man Carl might be right, and the Eagles could end up winning the NFC East. I think it's going to be a battle. I think Dallas, in certain positions is better. And I got to be honest, and I think there's certain positions the Eagles are going to be better. So it's really going to come down to the quarterback. I think at the end of the day, the quarterback is going to make the difference in those games. I believe Dak Prescott's a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. I definitely don't believe in Kellen Moore because I've lived that and I've seen what he even did in San Diego. I don't think that I'd be curious if that was the coach's pick or their general manager's pick. Maybe Carl knows if he's an insider to the Eagles and knows who really made that decision. It's not a fit. We've seen Kellen Moore. I just don't see a fit with Jalen Hurts and Kellen Moore. So that remains to be seen. But going back, the offensive line is going to be the key. The game is won in the trenches. And I think started only 1 year. Let's see. So there's a reason Guyton started only 1 year at two different colleges. I don't know. Is that are you being negative on him? I'm not following you. So maybe I had too much wine. So I'm not following you. Dak. All right, Carl, my man. And I'm not hating. He went to the Super Bowl. No hate on it. Give him the credit. He beat Daniel Jones and a running back who had to play quarterback. And lost to Mahomes. Got destroyed by Baker Mayfield in the playoffs. Got destroyed by Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the playoffs. His record is 2-3 in the play. I mean, we're not talking about Patrick Mahomes, Troy Aikman, all these things. So ease up on Jalen Hurts. He played like shit last year. You could say what you want. You can argue it. You can give me all the spin you want. You got to say he played like shit. And the problem with him, and if you heard the coaches that were in Philadelphia, some players, they had to dummy down, and I don't mean dummy in a bad way. They had to scale down. Let me fix my words. They had to scale down the offense for him in those years because he had trouble reading defenses, and he ran a lot. And when you can't run and you're forced to throw, what you see is what you get last year. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. And if my dad had nuts, he'd be my aunt, right? Yeah, woulda, coulda, shoulda, didn't. Doesn't matter. I mean, Dak Prescott would have been MVP if it wasn't for Lamar Jackson. So, I mean, what does that get you? Then a cup of coffee, right? That gets you shit. So calm down, Carl. I like you, but don't be talking foolishness in the cave because we're going to have to set you straight. I know the chat will definitely set you straight. So let's see. Let's say maybe you clarified it again because I had a few glasses, so maybe I'm not all there. Went to Texas Tech, then went to Oklahoma, only started 1 year and now switched to a new position. I think he's the right tech. Yeah, there's been a lot of players that have played, started it. If memory serves me, wasn't Tyron a right tackle in college? Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought he was a right tackle. So in talking to offensive linemen we've been fortunate to have on the show, I don't know if it's as big a deal as what you're talking about. So again, I'm no expert. I'm a fan. You got the guru in your name, so I got to hold you to it, my man. You are the draft guru, so maybe you know it, and I don't. I guess we will see. But the one thing I never doubt is the Cowboys' ability to draft an offensive lineman in the first round, because I don't know if they've missed. And I can go back many years, and I don't know if they've missed. They might have missed in the 60s, but I don't know if they've missed. So, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I never compared them. I said that players can play different positions in college and transfer over to the pros. So you're saying please don't compare someone, but they haven't even played a snap in the NFL yet, and you've already told me what he's going to be. So you are a draft guru, and I give you respect for that, being a guru. But what's your ratio on picking players? Show me the history of what you drafted on paper, and I'll show you a lot of bust you have. You don't know what you're getting in the NFL. There's a reason why undrafted players end up being in the Hall of Fame. There's a reason why 7th-round players end up being all pros. And there's a reason why first-round draft picks end up being busts. There's so much that goes into it. How do they handle the money? How do they handle the pressure? How do they handle the limelight? How do they handle the coaching? What system are they in? There's so many variables. There's so many variables that you got to go into. Drafting players is a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot. So anyway, I'm not I'm just asking. I'm Danny. I'm half kidding. So hopefully you're not taking anything I'm saying, to heart. I love the draft, and I'm not a guy who loves the film, but I love the draft process. I love watching these guys, but I'm good enough to know that it's, they laughed at Tyler Smith. I don't know what your view of Tyler was. Most people said he was terrible. Too many penalties, bad footwork, all these things. And he's turned out to be pretty good. They laughed at Travis Frederick. Why would you draft a center? You could have got him in the 3rd round. You could have got him this. You could have got him that. He turned out to be pretty good. People, believe it or not, they don't want to admit it now. They laughed at the Cowboys drafting Micah Parsons. They laughed at people getting Micah Parsons. I did a video on Micah Parsons. I got destroyed by people. Said, "Oh, he sucked. He didn't even play his, 1 year and and he ends up being one of the best players." So I just say you don't know. And I like Jay Tuck does phenomenal work with draft, and I love watching his content. I love watching people's draft content, and I learn a lot from it. But at the end of the day, these are kids. They're human. Some are going to do well, and some aren't. So I'm not comparing them to a Hall of Famer. I just made the example of players have done it. Now, will he be? He better be, otherwise our team's going to get their asses kicked. I'm just kidding, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So, but anyway, the training camp offensive line is so critical for me. But really, my man Zeke, who's who's in the screen, it's the running game, and I'm not going to talk about Zeke. I'm going to talk about the running game. I thought we missed that Zeke kind of player last year when Pollard, like I said, it gave me flashbacks of like a Felix Jones when they tried to make him the man. He never was the man in college, and he was a better complimentary guy, and I think that was Pollard. I think we lost what made Pollard special when we got rid of Zeke, and they didn't replace him with anybody, and they tried to make him the workhorse. That just didn't work. I mean, Zeke is going to come in with a role. I think he'll do very well at that role. If you think that he's going to get 1,200 yards, probably not. He might get 700 yards, but he's going to be the guy that you can count on short yardage. He's going to be the guy that you can count on inside the red zone. He's pass protection, which, depending on this offensive line, could be very, very, very critical. And I think he's a guy in the fourth quarter that can grind it out and just chug away 3, 4, first down, keep going down the line. So that's going to be. But what do they have outside of that? That's the part that's kind of got me all flipped out. I don't know if there's other running backs. I mean, could they trade for one? Is one going to get cut? Jets are heavy at running back. Miami's heavy at running back. You've got a few teams that are heavy at running back. They can drop someone, but I don't know. And then you could go back to the days and you can make arguments that, do you really need one of those big time name running backs? You can go, to the Denver Bronco years where they just would churn out 1,000-yard running back like it was nothing. They just were Alandis Gary. They just kind of replace all these guys every single year. And then they end up getting Terrell Davis in the 6th round, and he ends up being a Hall of Fame running back. And he really didn't even play that much in college because he had injuries. So you just, I don't know. If the offensive line can be what they, what we hope they can be, then maybe it doesn't matter who you put back there. You're going to get the yards. I just don't think we have the home run explosive guy. Pollard was explosive, and he was a home run guy when he was a complimentary back. I don't know if they have that. I don't know that. So he might, but Barkley double his carries. I mean, Barkley's washed up. I mean, didn't you watch that? Did you watch the Giants? Basically, the Giants, who the owner said he's their only star, and they couldn't wait to get rid of him. I mean, you want to talk about, washed up. I mean, Barkley has never beaten the Cowboys, so I ain't worried about that. I mean, he's 0-8 against the Cowboys. Hadn't done shit against them. I don't know what he's done against Philly. Maybe he has, but, paying him that kind of money, good luck. I mean, maybe it works. I wouldn't have been happy with Barkley on this team. I don't think he's a good fit for this team. I would have been happy with it. I think Dallas needs a player with some attitude. Barkley doesn't have an attitude. I love Barkley, nice guy. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't think the Cowboys are going to overpay for. I don't think they're going to get a running back. Unless they get a guy that is cut. Miami's heavy at running back. They may get cut one of their guys. Denver's talking about cutting either Williams or the other running back. Can't remember his name. One of them making it through camp. I can see the Cowboys doing that. And no doubt, Danny, that man is a walking injury. I love Eagle fans are the best because I had to listen to them make fun of Kellen Moore, laughing at us that he's our offensive coordinator. And now that he's there, it's like he's the best. He's the most, he's a genius. And oh my God, we got the best offensive coordinator. And then they do the same thing with Barkley. I've heard them shit on Saquon Barkley for years. Just called him every name in the book. Why? Overrated, injury prone, this and that. And then they sign him, and it's like, he's the best running back in the NFL. They did the same. You guys did the same thing with was it the cornerback or the safety that thought he was going to one team, and then you guys bashed him, and then he came back and re-signed. You guys loved him again all in the same week. Eagle fans are the best. I love Eagle fans. They're so stupid. Not you, Carl, just Eagle fans. But yeah, exactly, Danny. They love Kellen Moore now. You know what I'm gonna love about Kellen Moore, and Danny, you probably know it, is when you're running down the field, you're killing the team. And remember this, Carl, because you're gonna see it. And then I want you to say, you know what, Mike Tag said something like this would happen. You're going down the field, they can't stop your run, and then you do a double reverse and lose 20 yards and get out of field goal range, scoring range, and everything else. When that happens, which it'll probably happen the first game of the year, so get it over for you quickly. You remember me and you say, hey, you know what? I remember that. I remember Mike Tag told me that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. You got a better offensive line and you didn't do nothing with it. Didn't you guys lose like 10 games in a row? That offensive line, and then you lost your best offensive lineman in Kelsey. We'll see what happens. We'll see how that offense is without Kelsey. So we will see. That's right, my man Cuts. That'd be Tush. Was that the Tush push? We'll see what happens. More talent. More talent. Oh, I love the Eagle fans, boy. You guys are like salesmen. They got you drinking that Kool-Aid. Yep, 4 wide receiver curl route. That's a staple. That's a staple right there. My man Danny knows it. That is a staple. Kellen Moore play, man, he gonna love that. Let's see. I don't know if it's crashed. The Deuce Vaughn is a great story, and I had envisions of a man who was with San Diego and he was with Philly, Darren Sproles. I thought he could have that kind of impact. He's not going to be a workhorse, but just those explosive plays. And maybe he's a guy that could pick up the slack, right, at running back and be that. But, I don't know. He's going to have to really prove himself. And maybe he was a little overwhelmed. He was a rookie. He didn't get a ton of opportunity. So I don't want to say it crashed. Well, the hype, you got to admit, Scott, they put jerseys in the pro shop. So he was definitely hyped up. He definitely was hyped up. And he, again, he's in his second year. He's got the ability. He played against big college talent, big college schools. It wasn't like, he was on some shitty ass school that didn't play anyone. They played against the SEC. They played in the Big 12. They played against the Big 10. They might have played some ACC. They played Power 5 teams. So he's definitely has the ability. It's just an adjustment. And it's just like I talk about, there's adjustments. Some guys can make the leap, some can't. I think he can. I don't think the story's is finished. I don't think it's been told yet on him. I think he's got an opportunity. I think, they've talked about a wide receiver, maybe throwing him in space. He's a guy that needs space. He's a guy that needs space to get going. And I think he can be there. I appreciate it, Carl. I love Eagle fans. It's crazy. I got more Eagle fans, not on the show, but in my personal life. 2 of my best friends are Eagle fans. So I love Eagle fans. Plus, when I go to the game, I love talking with Eagle fans. So no, it's all love, man. I appreciate it. It's going to be interesting with the rule change, right? With kick returners, how Turpin and, even Deuce, how to work to that advantage with some of the rule changes. I'm not a fan of them. I don't know if you guys are. I hate it. I think they need, I think special teams is a important part of the game. Yeah, they're not that smart. They're smart, but they're not that smart. All right. They're not. The only smart thing was one of them went to the Eagle. I took him to the Eagle Cowboy game with me and he got his heart broken. So that actually was a lot of fun, but no, it's all good. Guyton or BB start week 1. Man, I'm thinking of Cleveland. And I'm like, man, did they going to put the rookies out there week 1? I don't know. I'll be honest. I wouldn't be shocked if neither one of them were started in week 1. I wouldn't be panicky if it was. I think Guyton has a better shot to start week 1 than BB. I just think, I don't know. Maybe I'm drinking some of the Hoffman Kool-Aid from just watching them, but I love the tenacity I love the attitude that he displayed. And I don't think he's going to give up his job so easily. But it'll be interesting. Carl, I mean, what do you do? I mean, I don't really worry about money because I don't pay it. But the quarterbacks, that's what they're all getting. And if you're going to pay, Trevor Lawrence, and you're going to pay Daniel Jones, and you're going to pay Jalen Hurts, and you're going to pay all these guys the money, well, yeah, he's going to get paid. Whether the Dallas pays him or someone else, it's next man up. It makes no sense. And then it's like Stephen Jones was on TV talking about, well, the quarterbacks contracts and the demands, and you guys are creating the demand because you're paying them. I mean, the quarterbacks are taking what you're giving. The quarterback, you can offer them a lower and the quarterback cannot take it. And if no one, offered them more, then they really don't have a choice. The owners set the market. The quarterbacks aren't setting the market. The owners are setting the market. So they need to look in the mirror. If they're upset about what the quarterbacks are making and representation to the salary cap, they're the ones that set it. So, Steve, get to bed. See, well, what time is 10:15? I got a few more minutes hanging with the crew, having a good time, and definitely appreciate it. I didn't say it because I get distracted, but if you guys are new and you're just checking it out and you're hanging, man, hit that subscribe, like, share. We're almost to 3,000 subscribers. So it's actually really cool. Really appreciate it. When we get to 5,000, and I overestimated, the crew. I thought we would have been there by now, so I'm disappointed. I'm only kidding. I was giving away 2 of my seats, club seats. You know what I'm saying? Not nosebleed, club seats, section 233 to be precise. I was going to give away 2 of my seats to a drawing when we hit 5,000. I was hoping we'd hit it before the season starts, but it hasn't happened yet. And I've got some games open. I've got the Eagles game open. I got the Bengals game open. I got a few games. Detroit, I think, is open. I got a few games that are open that I haven't committed myself to. So if we get to 5,000 pretty soon, then I'm going to have to, we're going to have to do it. If it's when the season starts, your boys' flights are already taken care of, and we got to get things done. So you're going to have to wait till next year. So it's going to be, it's going to be a good time. But definitely hit that subscribe. If Dak gets paid, that's Mahomes' money. That's right. They're all getting. Mahomes is like the 10th highest paid quarterback now. It's always next man up. It makes no sense to me why they do that. I think there should be a scale in my job, in probably your guys' job. Just, it's not like, someone gets, the next guy's contract's up. He's going to get paid more than the best guy. There's always a scale. The best guy usually gets paid the most. The shitty guys get paid the least, and everyone else is somewhere in the middle. That's what it should be. I don't understand why it's next. Like Trevor Lawrence doesn't deserve to be a top 3 paid quarterback. He's living off his freshman year in college still. Now, I'm not saying he's not a bad quarterback. I think but let's prove something. And you could say the same thing with Dak Prescott. Like, Kevin Gogan was on the show and he even say, hey, man, I like Dak, but I mean, you got to prove something here. Let's get to a championship. Let's get to a Super Bowl. Let's win a Super Bowl. Then we can talk about some money. The owners, they're just not doing that. It's just like CeeDee. CeeDee will get paid the highest receiver. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but he's going to get paid the highest receiver because he's there. Parsons will get paid the top defensive guy when he's up, and then someone behind him is going to take him. It's just the way that the NFL does it. Why? I don't know. No, I am not going to camp. The problem, I need to go to camp 1 year. The problem is, just being honest with you, Albert, I live in Florida and it's in California. I hate flying cross country. Flying out's not a bad. Flying back home sucks because of the time change, and usually you got to connect and all this and that. So it's really I haven't been because I just dread the travel part of it. Now I'll suck it up 1 year and I'm going to get it done because I've never been to a training camp, and I don't know if it's fun. I don't know if it's worth it. The problem is, obviously, I don't live in Dallas, so I got to pay to go to the games and the flights and all that stuff. So, your boy only has so much allotted for entertainment. So would I rather go to training camp or would I rather go to AT&T for a weekend at a game? I'd probably rather do that right now. That being said, maybe there's a time that we can do it. Oh, my man won an authentic jersey and a new hat from Vod. Vod's is a great guy. That's good. Now, would club seats be better? That's what you got to ask yourself, Rick. Club seats, not 400 level. We're talking 30-yard line, 200 level. You can hang with me and bring me with you, or you can bring Kelly. You can tell us to go screw ourselves and take who you want. It's your choice. That's the beauty of America. So, well, Danny, I will. Well, Danny's new. Well, you guys need to subscribe to Danny. We got to help each other out. And then, Danny, you could put your YouTube channel in the chat if you want. And definitely, you got Danny. If you love draft stuff, I'm sure I'm going to check you out myself. Hopefully I haven't already, but I'm going to check you out myself. So, 500 million. Yeah. Overall, but he signed that longer. What was it, like a 10-year deal or something like that? Yeah. I was going to get to that. Jordan Love's holding out, and he's another one. And I tweeted it out. I said, hopefully when he gets paid, he's going to send Dan Quinn some of that money, because he's making that contract off what he did to Dallas. I don't shit yourself about it not being true, because he basically put himself front and center in the NFL when he absolutely annihilated the defense. And he did well against San Francisco. Obviously, they lost, but he did well. So, excuse me. But yeah, Jordan Love, and he's going to hold out. He's going to hold out. So it's going to be interesting. Summer League champs for the Miami Heat. Give Mikey some love. The Miami Heat, that's what happens. My son, he's a Cowboys fan. He's a Hurricanes fan. Thankfully, he's a Miami Heat fan. He got to see a little bit when LeBron was there, right? There was a couple championships. Should have been more. That's why he's definitely not the GOAT, because they should have won like 4 or 5. But he's a Miami Marlin fan. So it's so bad for him that he's got to celebrate Summer League basketball championships. These Cowboys got to do something, man. You're killing this generation. I mean, it's like I was telling my man Smitty, who I was on an Eagle podcast. It's like, I've seen 3. I know people say, oh, we're 8 times. We won 6 Super Bowls. We won 3. I saw 3. So I know we've won 5, but I'm going to claim 3. I remember them. I was old enough to remember them. I went in diapers. I went in elementary school. I was a senior and then getting out of high school. So I remember them vividly. So that's 3. Would you take the 3? Or would you take 1 that I would have got to see when I'm in my 40s if I was an Eagle fan? I'd rather take the 3. But my son hadn't seen shit. So he is clamoring to Summer League championships. We got to change this. We definitely got to change this. So we'll get it right. What did I miss, Carl? You said something. Dak's not worth $60 million. Why not play Lance? Now, I mean, what quarterbacks, unless your name's Mahomes, I don't think there's a quarterback worth $60 million. But that's me. But I don't make the market, right? I mean, you can't, the market sets what it is, whether you like it or not. That's what it is. I'd probably say 10 of your quarterbacks are not worth it, in the NFL for the money. When you compare about best players in the NFL, I can name like running backs. Running backs to me are worth more than what they're getting, but the market is what it is for running backs. So you might not like it, but you gotta learn to love it. So pay Dak. He's top 5. I mean, someone's going to pay him. Dallas doesn't. There's going to be a line of teams that are going to pay him. So, well, there you go. We're close to the same age. So that's good. That's good. Are we going to get to $80 million a year for quarterback? I mean, it was 40. I mean, Michael, it was $40 million just a few years ago. I mean, think about it. It's gone up $20 million in a couple years. Where does it stop? When does it stop? The problem really is the fans. And look at the cost to go to games. Look at the cost for everything. It's going to drive, which it probably already has. It's going to drive the average, family can't take their kids and family to a football game. I mean, baseball used to be the cheapest ticket. I go look for a baseball ticket. Good Lord. I mean, they're trying to get all that stuff too. So, that's kind of like the sad part about it. But, and they make most of their money off TV revenue. So they could sacrifice a little bit on the tickets, but they all want to make their money, man. It's a business. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and one of his friends is a Cowboys a fan, and he was talking about me or whatever. Just my buddy's Cowboys. So he was basically saying Jerry Jones is always going to do just enough. All he wants to do is just enough for the team to be relevant. That way he can make the most money. And he wanted my opinion on it. And I said, well, I can't really argue it. I don't believe it. I mean, it's hard for me to believe that. I just can't think that he would, I'd be kind of sad if that was his mindset. And I don't think it is, but I can't argue it. Like if someone said I'll have many cases and many arguments against it because it's like they say, realistically, the Cowboys, any team should luck into a championship game. Super Bowl, a little bit of luck, but it's still harder. But those kind of things just happen, and it's really hasn't for the Dallas for whatever reason. And I don't think it's all the quarterback. I know some people are going to blame everything on the quarterback. I am just not one of those people. There's so much that you can blame down the list with this team and their lack of playoff success. Quarterback is not top of the list. Not for me. Now, I'm not saying it's not on the list. I'm not saying it's probably top 5 in the list, but it's not number 1. And that's just enough. And if that's his mindset, it's very sad. And I'm thankful that I was able to see 3 Super Bowls because I may not see another one if that's really the case. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. And, Dallas is, I agree with you. Dallas is a big brand. They hit the like button and you guys share and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, we are getting ready for training camp. We're going to be dropping more videos and doing a little bit more. Kelly and I are going to be together Wednesday night. We're kind of like, we're going to really get into training camp, get you guys involved. But long term, I want you guys to call in. So we're going to, I've got it done. I'm obviously in a hotel, but when the season starts, we're going to give the phone line, and we want you guys to call in and really have the conversation. I love the chat. I love the fighting in the chat. It makes me laugh. And sometimes, it's good to talk it out, man. Sometimes, you see it on Twitter, especially my man Kelly got mixed into some politics, and you don't want to give you guys lessons. Do not get involved in religion. Do not get involved in politics. Don't get involved in that. It's too polarizing, and too many people, it's like one side or the other. And I'm always somewhere in the middle. But I don't align myself to anything. I'm my own person. There's views that I agree with on one side or the other, but don't get involved in it on social media. It's a losing proposition. All it's going to do is get everyone aggravated because everyone's an expert, and it's easy behind the keyboards, and things can get misunderstood. So that's why I'm saying I want to call. That's why I want to say, let's have a call-in show and let's talk. So anyway, it'll be now. Are you talking about reptilians? Are you talking about my man Riley Martin? Mixed polit. And that's why even everything that was going on, I wasn't I didn't want to get involved in all that when they were trying to get politics and sports, and baseball teams are wearing patches and this one, that, and all these, it's like, dude, I get into sports because I don't want to be I just want to get away from all that. I don't want to listen, and I don't want to be preached to, and I don't want to be scolded, and I don't want to be nothing. Lose follow, who gives, I've seen Kelly getting into, I've seen Tuck, poor Tuck has gotten into stuff with people, not necessarily politics, but maybe some other stuff. But it's like, I get what they're saying, and I got what Tuck meant. You know, if you guys follow him, he's a great dude. You know, if my family was, if I said I was suffering and not make, you know, and not making ends meet, I would be doing everything I could possible to change that. And I'm not saying people don't. I don't think he was saying people don't, but he was just saying don't be on social media all day bitching and moaning about Dak Prescott. You know, do something to change it. And I think, and I agree with him. And one thing is, a lot of people don't see the work that a lot of people put in to their lives who become successful, like, you know, even these athletes or people in sports, or, you know, using Jay Tuck as an example. You know, I always joke with him all the time. I was on his show when he had 200 subscribers, and he asked me to be on the show, and I never did his was the first show I ever went on. And I was like, you know what? Let me do it, man. I love talking. And I went on there. We became friends afterwards, but it's, you know, to see him where he's at today and being able to do some of the things he does. I mean, I'm so happy for him. I love it. And I know the work that he put in, and it wasn't, you know, everyone has a full-time job in this business, at least people I know anyway. I mean, this is a hobby for me. It's not, I'm not paying the bills on it. Might get some beer money for Kelly and I to help buy some 12 packs at our tailgate party that hopefully you guys will be heading out to if you guys are going to the Ravens game. But I do it to interact, man. I lived in Florida, man, Cowboy fan my whole life. I never had the opportunity to talk to Cowboy fans like you guys and be able to see and hang out. And so when I get the opportunity, that's why I did. That's why I've done this show and kind of kept it going. But, you know, a lot of people don't know the work that it takes to get into this stuff, or even just in life in general, man. I had 6 people, my brothers and girlfriend. We were living in a 3-bedroom townhouse that was 975 square feet, and all 6 of us grown adults were living in there because that's what we had. That's where I started. So, you know, and now I've been blessed and been able to obviously get a bigger house than that, and don't have 6 people living in it. So I don't need 6 roommates, but it's a lot of work, man. So I get what some of these guys are saying, but I guess the point I was saying is sometimes when you write stuff, it gets taken the wrong way, and then it turns into a shitstorm. So that's why I stay out of it. That's why I just would rather I stick to Cowboys, man. I'll argue about the Cowboys with the Eagle fans and the Giants fans, and unfortunately, some of my own Cowboy fans will argue it up a little bit. But at the end of the day, you know, it's not changing my life one way or the other. Whether you like the Cowboys or you don't, or you think I'm an idiot, or you think I'm this or that, it really doesn't impact my life. But what's up, Booker, man? Happy to see you hanging in the cave. Moved to Texas. I thought about it, but all my family's here, man. And it's, you know, I'm a real big on my family and kids and brothers and sisters and nephews and nieces and dad and mom and all that kind of stuff. So I don't foresee myself ever leaving. And the beauty is travel is so much more affordable now. And if you play it right and I use things right, I can usually get to I tell people I can get to the games cheaper or spend the same amount of money as going to like Tampa to go to a game. Because I've been able to, I figure out the hotel things. I'm able to use some points. I do the same thing with my airlines. I use one credit card to get mileage points. That's what I use to get my flights. I have a Dallas Cowboy credit card. I go ahead and use that to buy all my other stuff. And I use the points to buy my Cowboys gear, my hat, all that other experiences if I want to. So I work the system. You know what I mean? You got to work. It's like my old boss used to tell me, Mike, you work the plan. Whatever the plan is, you got to work the plan to the best of your ability. So that's what I do. No, Kelly, this is Jimmy night. And unfortunately, I had a last minute trip. I had to go to Atlanta for work. So I'm actually in a hotel room and didn't get started till 9:30. So no Jimmy, but Kelly and I will be on Wednesday, special time for the training camp kickoff. Really a special day and time because he's going to see Deadpool on Thursday. So we had to switch the show to Wednesday. So Kelly will definitely be in the house, and, you know, figure maybe, you know, we're joking with the Twitter stuff. Maybe he needs a little vacation. Falcons training camp is in Flowery Branch. So it's about like an hour north of maybe 45 minutes north of Atlanta. Really nice place. Nice place. Been up there for work and stuff. So yeah. Well, hopefully you tune in for me too. Oh, and you're tuned in, so of course you do. Hopefully you tune in for me as well as Kelly. So Kelly's going to be on here solo too, because we got a lot of coverage. We got a lot of things going. But hey, it's gotten to be it's after 10:30, so your boys got to get ready. I got a big day tomorrow, but definitely appreciate all you guys hanging out in the cave. Excited for training camp. Hopefully, I know some of you guys don't want the Dak deal to get done, but want to get Dak done, want to get CeeDee done. We gonna get this thing rolling, man. I just want to come in feeling really good going into the season. I think maybe this is the kind of thing. Maybe this is what the doctor ordered. Maybe the team needs to be doubted. Maybe the team needs to have their back up against the wall. Maybe the team needs to, they're not the prize team of mainstream media. Maybe that's what they need. And maybe they need that pressure. Maybe they need that. So hopefully it turns into a positive. That's where I am. I'm always going to think of the positive way for them to work. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, definitely any tips I can get you for you guys, if you travel or whatever, get a member of a hotel, get on their honors thing. Wherever you stay loyal to that hotel. It's going to benefit you on your personal stuff, or if you want to go to Cowboy games. Like I said, I hardly pay for hotels when I go to games. Same thing with flights. I use the American Airlines card because they fly into Dallas. That's our hub. And I can fly from Tampa to Dallas. And a lot of my flights are free. So that's why I try and tell you guys, man. I know people are like, man, you must be going crazy. You go to all these games. I work it right, so it really doesn't cost me as much. So, hey, I'm working. I'm hoping Jerry. I got a few billion. I'm hoping Jerry will work a deal out for me. I'd love to take over these Cowboys, make some changes at the top, the very top, and change that culture a little bit. You definitely know we'll be doing that. But we're gonna have a good time. I don't do Monday. Usually Monday. See, I like later, Danny. My co-host and my buddy Jimmy, he's like an old man or something. He's got to be on like 7, which drives me nuts sometimes. But we'll definitely usually on at 7. But I'm gonna check out your show, and also people check out Danny Savage Draft Guru on YouTube. Definitely give him a subscribe, check it out, and see. Yeah, I do Hilton because it's just, I don't know. I got stuck with Hilton when I started working. I'm not stuck with them, but I just chose it because it was easier for where I was going. There was a lot of Hiltons in the area, so that's what I ended up doing. So, but yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate it, Danny. Love the interaction too, man. I love the interaction from everyone in here. It's tough when there's 2 of us and you got guests and you got this. It's hard to really interact with the chat, and I always hear great things about the chat. Cut says we have the best chat of all the shows because people go at it and yell at each other and call each other names and all that, which makes it fun. So I don't get a chance to enjoy that. So doing this by myself, I kind of can slow it down a little bit and see all the chats and see all the interactions. 470 people hanging in the cave. I do appreciate it. A lot of you guys on X, I need you to get over to YouTube, hit that like, hit the subscribe, more importantly, and show some love over there. But again, appreciate it. We will see you on Wednesday. We are getting this season started. We're excited. Hopefully you guys are excited as I am. Give you a couple updates. We are working on getting my man Tony Throw Hill back in the cave. Talk a little bit about talk a little bit more about the Cowboys' upcoming season. I'm going to work on a former coach, get him in. Talk a little bit about maybe some of the defense and thoughts on the defense going forward with Coach Zimmer. I got to reach out to Preston Pearson. We talked, and then he had surgery. Another great legend. I'm trying to get some more Super Bowl champions in the cave. We brought a ton of them. We've got a ton of rings that have stepped foot in this cave. So we've done our part as the Cowboys Cave channel. We've set the Cowboys up for success, bringing in all these champions, all these rings, talking about the great days of the Cowboys, but also talking about the future and what these guys got to do to get to that mountaintop in the promised land and get us another ring, because it's been way too long. I know the Eagles don't want to hear that. way too long for us to get a championship in Dallas. So we're going to get that going and definitely appreciate all the new people that come in. I see a lot of new names out here. So definitely appreciate it. You guys have a great night. Thanks for keeping me company out of town. It's always good to chill with my peeps. So I'll be seeing you guys on Wednesday. You guys take care. I'll see you.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.